welcome to the Crumbs Magazine podcast, the food and drink show for home cooks, restaurant lovers,
and basically anyone with a fondness for filling their face.
Hosted by Jessica Carter, Dan Izzard and Natalie Brereton of Team Crumbs, each episode is packed with news, trends and insider knowledge from the South West and beyond to help us all make the most of our local food and drink scene. This time we've got chat on proper old school pubs, Dan's newest caffeine-infused discovery and Nat's new favourite rugby snack she'll have at Ashton Gate. We're also talking about the issues facing families all over the country at these school holidays. It's something which Dan went to visit local food charity Fareshare to find out a bit more about.
Please forgive us, Crumbs listeners. It has been a little while since our last podcast.
Doesn't that sound like what you say at the beginning of a confession?
Yeah.
Forgive us for we have sinned.
We've been working really hard. We've actually just all been on holiday. Where have you been, guys?
Speaking of sinning, I've just come back from Ibiza.
Lol.
Really, gorgeous place if anyone's been before. Obviously did a lot of drinking because, it's Ibiza. But also enjoyed some really delicious local Spanish food there. I love the Spanish way of eating, just order the small plates. Keep them coming. So we went to the Ibiza Old Town. We had some, €2 wine and croquetas, bravas, montaditos, which is kind of like I've not had them before. Small pieces of bread topped with different meats or tortilla, which was really, really delicious. So just ate all the typical Spanish things, but in a more local setting than maybe, if you to go to your local Spanish restaurant in the UK. So it was really, really good. Thank you.
Cool.
Jess, what about your holiday?
I went to Georgia. Yeah, and I didn't know too much about the food actually before I went, but I had an inkling it was going to be good. Some kind of Eastern European meats, Middle Eastern-y type. There were just loads of fresh herbs, loads of nuts. The walnuts over there are amazing. We ate loads of kinkali, which are dumplings with kind of spiced meat inside, but you also get like the broth inside the dumpling. So you have to bite a corner off and slurp all the broth out. It's just delicious.
That sounds delicious.
So good. Loads of lombiani, which is bread stuffed with beans, and khachapuri, which is bread stuffed with cheese. And cha-cha I got introduced to, which is kind of like the Georgian grappa. It's made with all the, because obviously there's a massive wine industry in Georgia. Well, everyone kind of makes their own wine. And cha-cha is made with the kind of remnants, so the stems and the skins and everything of the grapes. You just have to shot it before your meal as a little aperitif. Which I got used to by the end of the trip.
I'm immediately booking a holiday to Georgia.
They do sell wine by the litre, and it's about £7.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I would definitely recommend it.
That sounds fantastic.
Where were you, Dan?
I went to Cyprus, to Ayia Napa.
Ayia Napa.
That was, I'm a big fan of that. Ate all of the fish, really. Seafood meze every single time. I couldn't not order it.
Excellent.
Calamari, octopus, sea bream, red mullet, unidentified whitefish. And we found the restaurant that did homemade halloumi, which was quite frankly arousing.
Nothing can beat fresh fish in a setting when you're on holiday, when the sun's out.
By the sea.
Yeah, and you're overlooking the water anyway. It's just the best.
I always have a thing where I have to find what the locals eat. So I feel like I can't go to a shiny restaurant on the waterfront. I have to go down back alleys and stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the great thing about Georgia actually, because it's not super touristy. Everything is quite authentic. You don't have to hunt down those backstreet authentic places as much, because everywhere is doing really great food. There's no kind of tourist trappiness.
That's really nice.
Tourist trap.
Speaking of holidays and hotels, Dan, you've been to check out a new hotel, haven't you?
I have. It was the Broad Street Townhouse, which is a new hotel, cafe and bar, which is open in Bath next to the Pig and Fiddle pub. It's a cafe by day, and then at night it morphs into the Blind Pig, which is kind of speakeasy style hangout, serving cocktails and espresso martinis and the like. And I checked out a drink that they like to call the Dirty Horchata.
Excuse me?
The Dirty Horchata.
What does that entail?
Care to elaborate? I bet it entails caffeine.
Absolutely. It's actually a Mexican drink, which is popular with the cool kids in California. So it's almond milk, nutmeg, cinnamon, and condensed milk, which is blended and then served over ice, and then topped with nitro cold brew coffee.
That sounds really nice, actually.
It was really nice. It has that little pick-me-up, and I just like the name Nitro Cold Brew. It sounds like I've invented it. Nitro.
It sounds like I'm going to skip off like a ninja once I've drank it, like ready to take on the world.
I kind of did, to be honest. They also do kind of house granola and yogurt, poached fruits and croissants and the like. And then at 11 changes to salad plates and sandwiches, and then in the evening beers and charcuterie offering, which looks good. And the hotel is pretty cool. The team haven't been able to really move much about. It's really old, kind of that classic Bath style stone listed building. Is there a list where all the listed buildings are on the list?
There has to be.
I imagine there must be.
Anyway, my favourite bit actually of the hotel is because they couldn't knock any walls down, they couldn't find a place for the check-in desk really. So it's under the stairs like a little Harry Potter cupboard. And it's got this desk that comes down on two little strings.
I really like that. I think that's better than a normal check-in desk anyway.
Like a pop-up desk.
Yeah.
So check that out.
Speaking actually of old buildings, I've been having a look through this new historical pub guide that Camera have brought out. I mean, I love a good old boozer, and I mean old very literally. You know the ones where you feel like if you just like squint and don't really look at anyone else and what they're wearing, you could literally be in Victorian times, like drinking from a tankard.
Some hipsters do like a little bit.
True. In Bristol, it can actually happen quite easily. You know, like all the kind of like cool like tiled flooring and the wood panelling. I'm a sucker for a bit of history. I think I was a bit of a history nerd at school. I once got 92% on a piece of history homework and I've never let it go.
Well done.
It was 17 years ago. I feel like I need a new achievement now.
I think I got a B in GCSE history.
This is Jessie's won awards for her writing, by the way.
Yeah.
But no.
Right. Anyway, the guide is called Real Heritage Pubs of the South West, and it's got like just over 100 pubs in it that are considered of special interest because of their really cool historical interiors. And we, this area, we tend to not have, like in London, you get those really ornate pubs that literally could have been pulled out of history, like all the glass and the gold, and we don't really have that kind of thing here as much, but kind of inside, I think you can really, if you know what you're looking for, you can, which I don't actually, but now I've read the guide, I do. You can really pick out some interesting features. So it kind of talks about how pubs started as public houses, as in people's actual houses, and have kind of morphed into something else, and how they became really prevalent in the Victorian times and like after the war and stuff. So it mentions a few, the King's Head in Bristol, the really central one, really tiny.
Yeah, I think I do.
So it's got loads of features dating back to like the middle of the 19th century, and it's got one of the oldest back bar fittings in Bristol, which was made in the 1800s, which is awesome.
That's really cool.
And have you been to the Avon Packet on Coronation Road?
I love the Avon Packet.
I've not been. I've driven past it, but I've heard I've got to go.
It's a classic. They've got 4 types of Thatchers on tap, I think.
I really, really want to go. I always pass it and think I have to, and apparently it's got a really great beer garden.
It has.
And it's still got loads of those old features. Ale House in Bath is another one. It's got its Victorian bar, and loads of these places still have, because pubs used to, as well as serving people to drink inside, they'd have an off license too. They'd have like a jug and bottle, so people would bring jugs and bottles to fill up with booze, and loads of them, if you look, still have that hatch where they would go and queue up and fill up their bottles to take.
Bring it back.
Exactly. See, that was the original, like reusable packaging.
What do they call them now? Growlers.
Yes,
American, yeah.
I mean, also in there is the Star in Bath, the Lark Hall Inn, the Palace Hotel in Bristol, Nova Scotia, Highbury Vaults. There's there's loads of really interesting pubs in there, so it's definitely worth having a look. And next time you're in an old school boozer, it's definitely worth just paying a bit more attention.
Yeah,
to what's around you.
I heard the Highbury Vaults was where they used to take people before they hung them. So if you look at the sign outside, it's got like a plate of food with a shadow of the noose.
No.
Facts.
Ooh, how chilling.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you want any other pub facts while I'm here? I've got
Hit me.
The Steam Crane pub.
Used to have a tiger.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they sent someone in, he got eaten.
Oh
No, the tiger didn't get eaten. The tiger was fine.
no. Oh.
No tigers were
But
harmed.
a person got eaten.
Yeah, the landlord like bet someone to go in there, and the tiger just ate it.
That's kind of an accident waiting to happen, isn't it?
Oh, I heard a stat recently, a really shocking stat actually, about how many children were at risk of going hungry over the holidays. Do you remember what it was?
It's actually 1 in 4 children in Bristol is at risk of experiencing hunger these summer months.
You know, and that's on that's on the doorstep. That's not just a stat from that you can ignore. It's
From the other side of the world.
Yeah, that is like really quite heartbreaking, to be honest.
You did some work with Fareshare.
I did. I volunteered with them at one of their breakfast clubs. So
Yeah.
this is for children who might not have a breakfast at home provided by their family, so they come in and have it at the school. And me and Josh Eggleton went and made smoothies with them all, and the response was amazing. The children were so up for it and keen, and they helped us cut up the vegetables and the fruit and put it in the smoothies, and it went down really well. And I think Fareshare is an amazing charity, what they are doing. I honestly believe they're making such a difference. But yeah, 6 weeks of school holidays is a long stretch if you haven't got that support.
That is, according to Fareshare, 7,300 primary school pupils in Bristol receive free school meals during term time. So that's kind of numbers we're talking about. So to find out more about how Fareshare operate and the valuable work they do, I went down to their warehouse in Bristol to meet Phoebe Ruxton, their fundraising and communications manager.
So during the summer holiday, you have all the support that a school would normally provide during term time that suddenly disappears for 6 weeks. So for a child on free school meals, that's a free lunch. They could well be accessing a free breakfast, which if it's come from us could be, mounds of strawberries and granola and even a fried breakfast or a huge range of food that's suddenly not there. A lot of schools are giving out food parcels at the moment. So when term ends and the safety net of all of that support disappears, and parents that may already be struggling are faced with 6 weeks with additional food costs, activity costs, childcare costs, that can be a real challenge for a lot of families out there. Fareshare South West sustains itself through so the food that we get in is donated by the food industry, and we're doing the food industry a favour by sorting out their surplus food. So that's the food side. In terms of funding to keep us going, we're a tiny charity, run on much less than you'd think, and we rely on donations from trusts and grants and from the public to be able to keep going. So that's really vital for us to continue doing what we're doing. And at the moment, in 2019, we're looking at tripling in size in 3 years' time. So we're at a stage of huge growth, and we're really needing the support of the community to be able to do that. If Fareshare didn't exist, it would probably go to either anaerobic digestion plants or to animal feed, and then the last resort would be landfill. In previous years, there's been quite a lot of incentives given to the food industry to give their food to anaerobic digestion. There have been tax breaks and so on for that. And I think the government and the food industry are waking up to the fact that that's not necessarily okay if the food is good quality and perfectly edible and there are people going hungry. So that's changing, and more surplus is coming our way. But there's no other charity like us that has the infrastructure on the scale we do and the trust across the food industry that we do to be able to deal with this food. So that's the food side. In terms of the people side, without Fareshare's support, I think we provide food to around 15,000 individuals each day. So that's food that would either not exist or have to be bought at a retail rate, costing a charity thousands each year. With all of the charities we support, everyone's reporting cuts across the board and squeezed resources, and it's increasingly a challenge to make ends meet in any charity. So with us, it's not just about getting the food to the people, it's about saving the charity sector in our region thousands. I think the average is nearly 8,000 saved per charity per year, and we support 260 of them. So it's a huge impact when it adds up, and it's amazing the power of harnessing surplus food and what difference that can make. It's enormous, and the potential is growing as well. We only access 10% as a network. We access 10% of the available surplus, so we're working incredibly hard to get more of that and save more money. Across the city of Bristol, it's been amazing to see the support that's come in, especially from the foodie scene here in Bristol. This summer we've got our Activate Bristol campaign that's launched specifically around the issue of child hunger over the holidays. And we've had support from all sides from the food scene, which is great to see when we've got this glowing Bristol food scene, in contrast to a lot of food poverty.
So Dan, what can people do if they are listening to this and think perhaps they want to help, or they maybe want to contribute to the charity and the work they're doing in Bristol?
Good question. Well, Phoebe recommends that you check out the Fareshare South West website, which is faresharesouthwest.org.uk, for opportunities to go and help them at the warehouse or help them at one of their events. You can also donate directly through the website. And then Wriggle have set up a donation point through their app, so you can go on there and you've already got your details in there. So they need constant support. They raise money through grants and through public donations to be able to do this work, and are aiming to increase their operations massively in the next couple of years. So it's a very worthwhile cause.
And I will say, when I volunteered, it really was worthwhile. You don't do it to feel good, but just seeing the children and what a difference it makes really just hammers home how important it is, I think, to sort of try and tackle the issue. So many congratulations and happy birthday to the Burger Joint in Bristol, who are celebrating 10 years this month. 10 whole years!
Is a burger place turning 10 like a person turning 100? Like, do burger places get a telegram from the Burger Queen?
Not just a telegram, probably a visit. I feel like I haven't been there in a while. I need to hit those guys up and get my burger on. So they opened their first site on White Ladies Road in 2009, and the Build Your Own Burger concept has proved popular amongst Bristolians, who have been enjoying juicy baps from these guys for a decade now. So if you have not heard of the Burger Joint, or you don't know the premise, you can basically do whatever the hell you like. They've got a range of toppings, patties, chicken, vegetarian, vegan, anything you want, they have it there. So you can basically make a different creation every time, or if you like a certain burger, make that every time. There are no rules there.
I think they told me about how many there are hundreds of different combinations, aren't there?
Many.
There's like 10,000, I think.
Oh my word.
Really?
Yeah, it's like what's that film with the guy who answers the maths questions on the board?
A Beautiful Mind?
Yeah, it's like that, but with burgers.
Yeah, just absolute scenes at the Burger Joint. So big love to them for their birthday, and we hope to still see you slinging burgers for the next 10 years as well. But Dan and Jess, hit me. What's your ultimate, if you were going to the Burger Joint, what you're creating, what you're making, what are you going to have?
Oh, do you know what? Like, don't hate me, but I am a massive burger purist.
That's fine. All burgers are welcome here.
All burgers are created equal.
But you just don't tell me you eat them with a knife and fork.
No, oh God, no. I like a skinny, like a flat patty. I like a bit of onion, mustard, ketchup, bit of lettuce. Yeah,
a classic, if you will.
Bit of pickle. Yeah.
I've taken to the double patty, but one beef, one chicken, which I like to call the farmyard.
Nice.
But also, I'd like to know, Burger Joint, if you let me make a burger with the bun on the inside and then sandwiched between two burgers.
I like
an inside-out burger.
Yeah. I think they'd let you do that.
Yeah.
There are no rules there.
It's got legs.
Yeah. I'm partial to... I'm just all about the cheese. I just go in there and take halloumi, cheddar, Monterey Jack. It just comes out basically a burger full of cheese. But I also really like the peri-peri chicken at Burger Joint with some Frank's hot sauce as well. That's really, really good.
Saucy.
So, happy birthday, guys.
Do you think they had 10 candles in their burger?
Probably. I think they had a burger cake.
I'll cut that last bit out.
I kind of feel like you should leave it in even more with I'll cut that out.
Yeah, me too.
Trying to be funny.
Good news, sports fans and burger fans and that. I should do it again. Good news, sports fans and pork fans and
Porky. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
Right. Good news, sports fans and pork fans and nap.
Porky!
The Jolly Hog, which is the guys behind Pigsty, have opened a concession at Ashton Gate Stadium.
Nice one.
The team behind the Jolly Hog are actually 3 Bristol brothers, including one former rugby player. The Jolly Hog will be selling Jolly Dogs.
Oh, Jolly Dogs. See what they've done there?
What have they done there?
Jolly Dogs, Jolly Hog.
Hot dog.
Oh, I see. And pulled pork. All their pork that they'll be serving is British outdoor bred and is from RSPCA Assured Farms, and that is piggin' excellent.
Piggin' now. So someone else with a new premises is one of Bath's top-rated street food outlets, as they've been given a permanent home within the kitchen at the New Inn in Monmouth Place. So JC's Kitchen has run as a pop-up for the past 3 years, serving up delicious Filipino cuisine. But now, with a fully operating kitchen at their disposal, it means they can be more flexible with the menu, including changing the dishes regularly and also running dining events, which will reflect the traditional style of Filipino eating. So I don't know if you know, but they eat a lot with their hands.
Yeah.
So, no cutlery.
The food as well is really interesting because of all the different kind of rulers that the Philippines have had, and the people coming in and going out and where they're placed as well. It's such like a melting pot of different
And I think for these guys it's nice, it just gives them the chance to be a bit more experimental. So owners Ron and Elaine De La Cruz officially moved in on the 29th of July, so they should be perfecting their menu to serve any time from now. So I would just suggest to keep an eye on social, maybe on their Facebook page, if you want to find out more about when you can pop in for a bite.
P.S. How cool is the surname De La Cruz?
Yeah,
I mean,
amazing.
Sounds like a pop star.
It sounds like an actress.
DLC.
Maybe related to Penelope. Oh no, she's just Cruz.
Also in Bath this month, Wriggle, or actually just the end of last month, Wriggle has launched. So I think Bristolians are pretty familiar with this app. So it's an app where you can get food deals from loads of different independent restaurants and bars. So you go on the app, you find the deal that you want, you pay for it, and there and then, and then you take your code to the restaurant or bar or venue, get really, really great deal. So that's launched in Bath now, which is great news. And some of the local places that are on it are Juno, that really cool kind of pizza burger craft beer place, Good Day Cafe, Whole Bagel, Cascara, and Magoo, that burger place. So there's some really great joints on there. Okay, also some recent exciting news is that we have announced the finalists of the 2019 Crumbs Awards. Super exciting. There's some really awesome names in there. By all accounts, the entries this year were just such amazing quality.
This is going to be a crazy year. The finalists are so strong. I don't envy those judges at all. It's going to be, hard to choose. The best of the best out of these lot.
Yeah, I mean, let's not rub that in with our judges, definitely.
I want to keep them on side.
Yeah, for sure. So now that the finalists have been announced, do you know what that means?
Tickets are on sale.
Tickets are on sale. So the actual Crumbs Awards ceremony itself is happening on the 6th of October at Bristol Old Vic. That's a Sunday. It'll be in the evening. We've got a lot of fun stuff planned. I spoke to Steph, our events manager, about what is going to be happening, and here's what she could tell us.
We're so excited for this year's Crumbs Awards. It's going to be the biggest and best yet. It's going to be held at the Bristol Old Vic again, which is just such a brilliant venue. And we've had loads of confirmations from local food and drink suppliers as well, who's going to be sharing their products on the night. The goodie bag is also shaping up really nicely, so each attendee will get one of those. We've got the hilarious Mark Olver hosting and a super fun band lined up for the after party, which went on into the small hours last year. So a really great night out. Tickets are selling really quickly. There's a limited amount on offer and the popular areas do get booked up. So if you want to grab yours, then head to awards.crumbsmag.com to make sure you get them all booked up.
Thank you for listening to the latest episode of the Crumbs Magazine podcast. We would love to hear from you.
If you want to get in touch with us, just tweet us at crumbsmag if there's anything pressing that you think we need to cover or just anything that you've come across lately. We'd love to hear it.
And you can keep up to date with all the latest features from the mag and beyond at crumbsmag.com.
Bye!
Can we have a Negroni now?